Hello everyone, this is a layout update. I am a 00 gauge British outline modeller. However, one of my other interests is continental railways, in particular German and Austrian railways, and I've had that interest alongside the British outline interest for a number of years, but due to sort of memorable holidays in Europe, travelling on the trains, visiting countries such as Switzerland, Austria, Germany, interrailing as well, going on the City Nightline train all the way to Berlin. I've always had an interest in continental outline, and I did have some HO gauge bits and pieces a few years ago which I sold because I just didn't have the space to do that alongside a 00 layout. So as a sideshow, away from the 00 layout, I thought, what can I do in terms of an N gauge layout? So what do I want? What can I accommodate? So I knocked myself up a baseboard which is 8 foot long by 2 foot wide, and the layout that I have built, or I'm in the process of building, is a terminus to Fiddle Yard layout. I did think about doing a continuous run, however I did have a continuous run N gauge layout a few years ago, and I found that all I was doing was just watching trains whiz around the track. I had a limited fiddle yard at the back, couldn't really sort of have scale length trains of sort of 8 to 10, 11, 12 coaches. So I looked at this and thought, well, how can I accommodate what I want, because obviously continental rolling stock is longer than British outline. So I thought, well, I like terminus stations, I like the hustle and bustle of express trains coming in, trains from other countries as well, like Austrian OBB or Swiss railways, and trains coming in, the Trans-Europe Express, various other trains. So I thought, well, I'll do a terminus layout because I can run it to a proper timetable with a fiddle yard round the other side. So what I've done is a U-shaped layout. So let me just take you round and show you the fiddle yard. I am going to remodel this. As you can see there, the two tracks that come round and go into the 4-road fiddle yard. I'll come on to the other two tracks in the foreground in a minute, but the 4-road fiddle yard there, which goes down to the end of the baseboard, that can hold a 10 coach train and a loco in each one of those. But just there where those 2 points are, I am going to put a point, remodel that, and make the two curving tracks coming round. I'm going to make that into a single track before going into the fiddle yard, because then that allows trains in the fiddle yard to basically access all the platforms. And if we come round, as you can see here, here's the station throat, and I've got a diamond crossing there. I thought, well, continental stations, they always have, a fan of complicated track work, diamond crossings. I didn't want it too complicated because I know that it can lead to running issues. So I've just got a diamond crossing there, but you can see what I mean by the inside track literally can only access a couple of platforms. So I'm going to remodel that so that trains can access all of the platforms. And if we just pan along there, and you can see there is the station. Platforms are built out of balsa wood, and you can see I've got my Trans-Europe Express with a class 103 electric loco in the platform at the moment. That's a 7 coach train and a loco. Then if we move along, there's another electric loco there with a 6 coach regional express. And if we just go in a bit further, there is a class 218 diesel loco with some silverlinge or silverfish push-pull coaching stock. The terminus has got 6 platforms. The silverfish coaching stock in the platform at the back there, that can operate on its own away from the main layout, and the line disappears through there which I did think aesthetically was a bit severe. But when you actually look at terminus stations, for instance King's Cross, I think the York Road platform just outside the station, the line sort of comes in with everything else and then disappears off to the left through a sort of retaining wall bridge. So it's not as severe as it might look, because prototypically I have seen examples of that with busy built up urban terminus stations with lines coming in from all over the place. So I think that is getawayable with, and then that feeds round behind there into another Fiddle Yard 2-road line Fiddle Yard there, where I can have a DMU in there and also the push-pull stock as well, and alternate between running that. So I can technically have 2 trains in there alternating backwards and forwards, 4 trains in the Fiddle Yard at the rear, and I can have 4 trains in the station. So there's 10 train movements that can be operated to a timetable on this layout, which I think is quite good because it's only 8 foot by 2 foot. But if you do it right, if a train departs the Fiddle Yard and comes into the station, another train departs the station and takes up the vacant road in the Fiddle Yard, and then you carry on a sequence like that. So I think that's quite good. Just zoom in a little bit there. There's the 103 with the Trans-Europe Express coaching stock. I've been collecting these bits sort of over the years, picking them up here and there. I haven't been spending a great deal of money on this because a lot of this rolling stock and locos you can pick up on eBay. See there, just moving forward. Apologies about the focus if it's a little bit fuzzy, just it's my first update, getting used to a new camera. There is the restaurant car with the pantograph, which was used to generate power for the kitchens on board. And then next to that we've got the panoramic scenic dome car. Now that has an upstairs observation dome, and then behind that we've just got the normal first class seated carriage. Now the Trans-Europe Express, I believe, operated, correct me if I'm wrong, in revenue earning service up until about 1999. They do still have the rolling stock, it's still used with the class 103 electric locos in preserved mode, or they use it for charters and things like that. I'm quite pleased I picked up a rake of those. I've been, it's swap meets, just picking up the odd coach here and there. They weren't that much. I think the cheapest one I picked up was about £5. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with those. In the foreground there's an electric loco with the classic German express coaches there. Six coach rake. And in the background there, apologies for the poor focus, is the Silverfish coaching stock with the push-pull driving trailer on the end. I'll just go around here. I will get the focusing right. This is the first layout update that I've ever done. I thought I'd, having seen and taken inspiration from a lot of layouts on YouTube, particularly for the 00 gauge, Dean Park Station, Tony Northeastern. A 00 gauge exploits are ScotRail 1980s period anyway, so Dean Park Station has provided a lot of inspiration and mod techniques and etc. That will be my main focus. This is just a little bit of a side project, just to satisfy a bit of an interest in German and Austrian railways. I do have a few Austrian coaches as well and a couple of electric locos, and I will, as I progress with this layout, be doing some updates. It won't be, it's going to be done on a budget, this, so the back scene will just have a sort of industrial town city classic sort of German skyline. What I am going to do is I'm going to put a couple of oval roofs on the over the platforms. I'm going to use the Pico 00 gauge overall roof, because even though it's 00 gauge, using it on an N gauge layout gives it more of a grand look, because it's obviously oversized. So when you look at a lot of the German terminus stations, Dresden, Cologne, Leipzig, they all have huge station sort of overall roofs, grand, sort of almost cathedral like. So I thought, well, the Pico overall roofs aren't exactly as grand as that, but because they're over scale they will give that impression. So I'm going to try and work out how I can accommodate them over the platforms. On the right hand side there might be a bit of a challenge because there's no space for the pillars, so they might have to go on that platform nearest the edge there, going across somehow. I may have to just, you know, rejig a bit of the track work just to try and fit it in, but that's the plan anyway. And it won't be covering all of the platforms, just down the end there, because obviously I need access to uncouple locos, because this layout is analog DC, no point motors. Point motors are hand operated. Yeah, it's a real old school sort of setup, but you know, I don't mind that. You know, it's a small enough layout to manage it. You know, that's where the fun is. I like that, operating points, doing it all manually. A 00 gauge layout is going to be the same. That will be you know, a similar thing. So that's it for this update, and I'll keep you posted on the progress of this, and also my 00 gauge layout as well. Okay, thanks for watching.